looks like you've been up to a lot of creative stuff and not just chilling out. But how have you spent the last few months?
Yeah, honestly, it was pretty nuts because we were planning on taking a 3, maybe 4 month break, and then this whole COVID thing happened and really set us back. But in a weird way, it was a blessing for us because some of the best music on this album came out of COVID. And that extra time we were given. So everything happens for a reason, and we're back and definitely better than ever. Um,
And the song is amazing. It's really good. And I'm not just saying that, like it's really good.
okay, thank you.
Yeah. But it also looks like you guys were sort of more involved and more hands-on with this one, right? Like, is that fair to say that this is sort of something you've taken more ownership of?
Yeah. So this is the first song that's ever come out that's just us writing and producing it. And it's been a process of getting to this point. And we honestly started writing this album like maybe 2 years ago on tour. And it's been just sort of a hobby of like, after a show, we just go on the tour bus or in a hotel room and work on a song, writing a song. Daniel would be producing, and it got to the point where we had all this music, and we came into this year like, we could just go for this, like, and do our thing. And COVID really gave us some extra time, and we honestly we wrote Fallen. It was the last one to come. We had the whole album done, and then we wrote on. And if COVID hadn't happened, we wouldn't have gotten that. So I guess that's a silver lining.
Yeah, and I mean, we've been working on, like you said, we've been working on this music for quite some time, and the reason we hadn't released any of the music that we were writing prior was we really didn't have the time, first of all, being on the road, to really go to a mixer and properly pitch this to the label and everybody. And we didn't really have the validation that I think we needed to really feel good about our music. And to any artist that's trying to make their own music, I would just say, trust your damn gut at the end of the day, because I mean, we slept on some of these songs for 2 years and now are being, talked about as maybe the next single or, and it's like, you really just got to trust your instinct. And if all 5 of us like the song, that's what really told us that it should be on the album.
Yeah.
Because, there are some songs that weren't that magical, but there were definitely a big handful that were. And we wrote probably 100 songs on the road, but, the album is full of the ones that were really just special.
So it must have been nice to have some time off to just sort of breathe and soak it all in. And
yeah, we took the first couple months of this year after we kind of announced that we were going into the social media darkness to just focus on ourselves and focus on friends and family and whatnot. And then we kicked back into gear and started really fine-tuning the records and picking them out. But definitely much needed, especially coming off of 3 years of touring. And I think over this past 9 months, like, we've all really, really grown as people and grown a lot as artists and as songwriters, and Daniel especially as a producer. And it's just been good. It's just felt like this new sort of life has been, breathed into us by ourselves, sort of. But yeah.
Was there also a little bit of perhaps reservations about sort of going into social media blackness, that maybe they would forget about you? Or
I mean, nah. I mean, we know our fans, and we have such a strong bond that I don't think that was ever a real worry of, will they forget about us?
Well,
but
also our fans were really the ones that made us aware that we probably should take a break.
Yeah, they were like, "I'm going so hard, you need a break."
There was this hashtag trending on Twitter one day while we were still on tour that said, like, why don't we need a break? And it was kind of directed to our management to ask them to, like, let us off of the road. And we were kind of in this headspace of, like, we need to stay on the road until we saw that. And we're like, damn, maybe we do need a second.
If they see it, maybe. Yeah. Kind of crazy, though, that like they inspired this whole new, like, era.
Oh, yeah.
Don't we?
Were you, like, happy that when you came back, everybody was just, like, gung-ho again? Like, it was almost like nothing had happened?
Yeah, I was wondering throughout the whole break, especially when it got prolonged due to COVID and everything, I was wondering, like, what's the comeback going to be like? How explosive is it going to feel? And, there was a certain amount of pressure to make sure we picked the right song and to make the biggest impact. And, like, and that's why I think Fallen was so magical, because it kind of just popped out of thin air and
it was one of those songs that just like it wrote itself and it just pieced itself together so quickly and so like effortlessly that, and the fact that it was the last song we wrote for the album, like it was just this weird like closing point of like, okay, you finished writing the album and now you have that song that you feel like you've been needing the whole time.
Yeah.
And so it's just
It was
very
interesting because
very
we
cool.
had ideas for other singles on the album that prior to Fallen, and then we wrote Fallen, and it was like, boom, like
Yeah.
right in your face, like this is the obvious one.
And
of
I knew
course.
coming with Fallen was going to be, you know, a nice hard impact. Like the song is very thunderous and in your face. And so
An
like,
intro.
as soon as we wrote and finished that song, we were like, yeah.
Are you worried that maybe if this COVID thing keeps going and we're under a lockdown and this pandemic keeps going, that you might not be able to step on a stage for another year?
To God, not. I miss
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Just listening to like government officials and whatever they're saying we're allowed to do. Obviously, our fans' health is the most important thing. But when we're allowed to, we'll be out there as soon as we
Oh,
can.
yeah.
That's for sure.
For sure.
And is the show going to be a little bit different now? Are there going to be maybe more instruments? And
We're all playing instruments. It's going to be a whole different.
Cool.
I'm so excited.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just in the same way the music suddenly is woken up to this whole new beast, the show is gonna follow.
Oh baby, I can feel the rush of adrenaline. I'm not